86%. That's followed by a 73% rally in the S&P 500 index. For 2018, the JSE's benchmark index has gained 19% in dollar terms and is expected to continue to grow as a result of the monetary reforms which have been taking place, such as reduced interest rates and reduced borrowing as part of the current IMF program.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says Bloomberg News' declaration that the Jamaica Stock Exchange was the best performing financial market in the world is testament to the country's stabilized and energetic economy. Jamila Maitland has that story.
Earlier this week, Bloomberg News ranked the Jamaica Stock Exchange amongst the world's best performing equities markets for the last 5 years. That's compared to some 90 other equities markets worldwide. The respected financial news outlet says the Jamaica Stock Exchange has amassed the largest percentage of growth over the period, growing by 233%. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says that's independent evidence of Jamaica's economic performance.
That's not measured in Jamaican dollars or in Trinidadian dollars, measured in hard currency, the best performing stock market in the world over the last 5 years. There's no better investment, i.e., in the world over the last 5 years than investing in the real economy of Jamaica.
The minister says the government seeks to bring more stability to the economy. Earlier this week, Parliament approved an increase in the country's supplementary budget.
Capital expenditure has doubled over the last 2 years, from $32 billion in 2015-2016 to $60 billion this year. And after the supplementary budget that was passed by Parliament on Tuesday, to $65 billion this year, a doubling of capital expenditure. And it's through capital expenditure that we're able to improve service delivery to the public and improve quality of life.
He described several impacts of the government's economic reform program.
The impact of the economic reform program has been broad-based. It has improved poverty, it has improved employment, it has improved access to mortgages, it has improved inflation, which all affect, it has improved public service delivery, and it has improved social support. Those are things that affect people, that affect individuals on the ground and improve quality of life.
After being shelved for some 14 years, the construction of the Maxfield Park Housing Development Project will begin next March. Some 210 housing solutions are slated to be constructed in the community. Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground for the project earlier this week. Here's more.
The project, which has an $850 million price tag, is expected to be completed by 2021. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who has the responsibility for the National Housing Trust, described the groundbreaking ceremony as long overdue.
The project was conceived over a decade ago, as was pointed out by the Leader of the Opposition. It is a sad commentary on the process of our bureaucracy that it is taking so long to have it come to this point. But we are here and we are grateful and we are thankful.
Opposition leader and Member of Parliament for the constituency in which the project is located, Dr. Peter Phillips, underlined the importance of policy continuity. This, he said, will result in the development of Maxfield Park as one of Jamaica's ideal communities.
It's part of an integrated community development, which includes a sporting complex, upgraded schools, health center, worship facilities, and community facilities. And so it's been a long time. I think I should say that it's reflective of the fact that the bureaucracy takes a long time, too long, and oftentimes is insensitive to the plight of communities such as these. But I'm very happy.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Housing Trust, Lennox Channel, explained that the development will not only feature houses, but businesses as well.
There are 194 housing solutions, and there are some shop units which will have houses on top of them and so on. which makes it 210 solutions. But in terms of families, you can put multiples, maybe 3, 4, onto that 210 into the 600 to 800 range. That would benefit.
Moving on now, Tourism Linkages Network Chairman Adam Stewart wants more hotel chains operating in Jamaica to follow what the Sandals Group has done and source most of their agricultural produce right here in Jamaica. WBR sat down with Adam Stewart recently. Giving more farmers the opportunity to access markets in local hotels is a major mandate for the Tourism Linkages Network. One way it's trying to achieve this is through the creation of an app that links farmers with purchasers in hotels.
We've created technology for the farmers that goes into real time. You know, here's a hotel that needs to buy. Here's a farmer in St. Elizabeth. The issue that we've always had is connectivity. So we created the AgriLinks Exchange, working with RADA, where the farmer can literally put information live to say, I have 500 pounds of watermelon, and here's my quality. And the purchaser in the hotel can say, I know where to get that now.
There were some skeptics.
People said to me as a chairman, you know, farmers can't read and write. And I said to them, create the digital platform, and if they can't read and write, their children or their cousins, I said, make one economic exchange take place, and you watch how fast people find a way to put it together. And it has been phenomenal. The technology was written by a Jamaican entrepreneur, genius Jamaican entrepreneur. So we said, here's what we need. He said, leave it to me. I couldn't believe it. When he came back, demoed it, state of the art.
He argues that finding simple ways to connect farmers with local hoteliers is the best way to stop leakages.
You know, the hotels don't sleep. They're 24/7, 365. If we can't find a way to make it simplistic to get that connectivity, then people buy things from Miami, you know, or other parts of the world. And that consumption, you know, we call it leakage. That would be leakage when they go to Miami instead of buying it from St. Elizabeth when we have our farmers right here.
Adam Stewart says there's a great untapped opportunity for local farmers to supply hotels with berries. He notes that currently hotels import a significant amount of strawberries and blueberries that can be substituted with locally grown ones.
Literally all of our berry consumption in the hotel side of the importation in Jamaica is coming in from overseas. So under our agricultural working group, we have created and done the diligence around saying, this is a real opportunity. This is one that we actually need to force. And we need to find young farmers and young entrepreneurs coming out of school, as well as those who are doing it, and say, here is the opportunity. How can we help fund it? How do we get people in business so that we don't have a 98 or 99% leakage of people buying their berries coming via Miami from South America, but right here in Jamaica? Lady Holness has been, you know, an inspiration at taking this very seriously as a part of her remit. And the council pulled in 5 young farmers and have put all the framework together to get this going. But you know, it's agriculture. It takes a minute to put it together. It takes a minute to perfect it, but it's already starting to work. And then the idea is every year you close that gap of leakage of people buying overseas because we have a competitive product at a competitive price, homegrown.
The Sandals Group CEO says that some of the larger hoteliers operating in Jamaica are only giving lip service and promises to incorporate more local produce in their hotels.
What I will say, that as a hotelier to other colleague hoteliers that I'm disappointed in, is I don't think enough of our hoteliers make a conscious effort. And not all of them. The local indigenous Jamaican hoteliers, the family-run hotels in Negril and St. Mary, I think they do. You know, Jason Hensel down on the South Coast with Jake's, he does a superb job of working with the farmers. He really does. I think some of the larger, what you would call the foreign investors, I think we get a lot of lip service about how much they're trying. And I can tell you, at Sandals Resorts, 80% of all of our consumption comes locally. There are certain things that are made that will never be made in Jamaica. Grey Goose vodka is never going to be made in Jamaica. So you're always going to have to import elements of it. 98% of the agricultural products that we use come from 2,000 farmers in Jamaica that we work with on a continuous basis. Sandals runs the highest standards of any all-inclusive chain anywhere in the Caribbean, and if it works for Sandals, it can work for anyone else. The quality is there, the consistency is there. It does take more coordination than clicking a button on your computer and ordering it from Miami. You know, Miami is convenient, but this is what linkage is about.
He says Jamaica has a unique opportunity through tourism to invest in farming to help grow the agriculture sector.
We get a lot more lip service than we deserve. I think Jamaica has the opportunity. In other islands, they have nothing to grow. Many of the other islands, they can't compete, or they grow bananas, you know, or they have 1 or 2 crops. Jamaica has the works, and we've come a long, long way. Things like, you know, cherry tomatoes that are hydroponically grown that you couldn't get years ago, you can get them here. Specialty products, zucchinis, etc. Entrepreneurs have gone into business, and if you seek it out and you make a conscious effort, and it's not lip service, you will find that literally your entire basket of what you need to run an international hotel today can be consistently found in Jamaica, and the farmers deserve more credit.
Company news comes up next. Then later, riding the tsunami wave, we'll tell you how a massive ship ended up in the middle of a small fishing village. Stay with us.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Here's this week's company news.
Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited has opened 10 new off-track betting OTB outlets on the eastern side of the island. This is in line with the company's commitment to expand the reach of its horse racing product and boost revenue. The new OTBs became operational in time for the start of the Supreme Ventures Jamaica 2-year-old series last weekend. The locations include Highgate in the North Bay in St. Mary, Yallis in St. Thomas, and Hopewell in Hanover. Portland Tony in Portland has also received its first location for some years. 5 locations have also been opened in Kingston. Wisynco is reporting more than $24 billion in revenues for the first half of 2018. That's a 15% increase from the $21 billion it recorded for the similar period in 2017. The company's financial statements reveal that the manufacturing and distribution giant amassed some $3 million more in revenue than the similar period last year. Revenues at the end of June stood at $24.5 billion. Gross profits went up to over $9 billion from last year's $7 billion. However, net profits went down by 6% to close at $2.3 billion from last year's $2.4 billion. Express Catering, operators of a number of brands including Margaritaville and the globally renowned coffee chain Starbucks, saw revenue at the end of the 2017-2018 financial year coming in at $15.7 million. That's a 10% increase over the previous year. This was mainly driven by the increase in passenger counts at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, which would have impacted the Margaritaville and Starbucks airport locations. For the 2018-2019 financial year, Express Catering Limited expects to see incremental increase in revenue from the Starbucks franchise and its other existing offerings. They're also expecting to benefit from the projected increase in passenger flows for 2019 at the Sangster International Airport.
Let's now take a look at the closing numbers from the major stock markets around the world. When we come back, more of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk, so stay with us.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop, or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Former Managing Director at NESOL, Carolyn Warren, appeared before Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, on Wednesday to answer questions about a controversial contract awarded to Peak Energy Solutions. More in this report.
Members of the PAAC questioned NESOL's former Managing Director, Carolyn Warren, about the fact that the organization under her leadership awarded a contract to Lenny Gordon as consultant for the installation of solar panels while he was still Managing Director at the Nationwide News Network. That was in April 2017. 3 months later, a company called Peak Energy Solutions was established to carry out the installation work. PAAC members became concerned after it was revealed that Lenny Gordon, the consultant, was the principal owner of the company that received the contract to carry out the installation. There was no formal contract, and the fact that Lenny Gordon was her former boss when she worked at Nationwide News Network raised eyebrows.
Mr. Gordon
I recommended Mr. Gordon.
Was contracted to do scoping and developmental works in relation to the solar systems to be provided through the CAP project. Having done that, he formed a company.
After that, yes, I think like 3 months after.
Right, and the company was formed to now execute solar system.
Yes, throughout Jamaica, not just for NESOL.
The contracts, which were totaled for more than $21 million for 19 sites, were to be completed by Peak Energy Solutions.
So far for Peak has been paid 12.5 million or thereabout. I think they're owed 9-point-something million.
So they're above the threshold.
Oh, hold on. They're not above the threshold because they were done extension by extension.
Separate
sites. So we did not get everything from USF at one time.
BATV News checked the National Contracts Commission of Jamaica to find out whether Peak Energy Solutions was registered, a mandatory process to qualify for government contracts, but it was not. PAAC members demanded the procurement documents, citing that the contract surpassed the $2 million amount, which required a procurement process. Mrs. Warren sought to explain why procurement wasn't done.
Your question of why Peak and Peak alone, when Mr. Gordon did the first 3, Universal Service Fund was totally satisfied with what they got. During that time, when one was done, at the same time we were trying to find other persons. We were not successful, so Mr. Gordon just ended up doing those.
Mr. Chairman, please, that response is totally unsatisfactory. And I tell you, what was the process used to engage Mr. Gordon and subsequently Peak Energy? Directly. Mr. Gordon came on board anew in April. What was the process of engaging Mr. Gordon, who by the records subsequently become the dominant provider of these services to these many 19 sites.
Biochemist Professor Errol Morrison says the government's policy against sugary drinks in schools is a good initiative. However, he's taking issue with the message that's being sold in the media. Sashana Small tells us more.
The sugary drinks that are now being attacked, excellent approach, but needs some tweaking to get the message right, scientifically sound.
But how should they be tweaked? Well, Professor Morrison says sugary drinks are being branded as the sole cause of certain non-communicable diseases, and this is not true.
What we want to get across to the people, and I know what the media is trying to say, but it is coming across that sugary drinks cause diabetes. For the last 100 years and more, that question has been discussed, debated, investigated, and studied. And the answer is no.
However, he did acknowledge that sugary drinks cause obesity, but he emphasized that this happens when it's consumed in excess and not accompanied by any physical activity.
Young children in the more well-to-do neighborhood, they are being dropped at the gate from the cars. They have had breakfast, they are assured of, other meals for the day. For them, that bag juice is unnecessary and could be problematic. I want these messages to say that. But you can't knock a sugary drink in a child going to school hungry. That sugary drink, 50% of it, remember that, 50% of it goes to help the brain to function.
Meanwhile, clinical nutritionist at the University of the West Indies, Susan Suarez, says the key to understanding these ads is to pay more attention to the wording.
The ads that have been going out, if you really look at the wording carefully, it says sugary drinks causes obesity, and that's from the excess energy that you get. That, as Professor Morrison said, if you take in more than your body is using, then it will contribute to obesity. But if you look at the ad, we say that obesity can lead to illnesses like diabetes, NCDs, things like tooth decay in children.
In the meantime, Professor Morrison says this policy change should also be accompanied by mandatory physical activities in schools.
Palace Resorts is expanding its operations in Jamaica with a $250 million investment. The luxury hotel brand says it'll be building 750 new rooms. The investment will also include upgrades to the town of Ocho Rios. Here's more.
Palace Resorts has been operating the luxury all-inclusive Moon Palace Jamaica Grand since 2014. They're now investing in their second major hotel in Jamaica following the purchase of rooms on the beach in Ocho Rios. And the Mexican hotel chain says it's also committed to redeveloping the town of Ocho Rios. They've partnered with the Urban Development Corporation UDC to create a master plan for the town. This will include a pier with a multitude of dining options, a renovated public beach, a boardwalk, snack bars, as well as a sand-based soccer field and an open aircraft market featuring local artisan items. The company says the construction of the new property and the expansion and development project in Ocho Rios will create an additional 3,500 jobs for Jamaicans. Managing Director of Moon Palace Jamaica, Cliff Reeder, says the planned redevelopment of Ocho Rios will elevate its presence and foster tourism and economic growth.
When we come back, an exclusive look at the damage left behind by the massive tsunami in Indonesia. More WBR after this break.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with
the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. A ship weighing more than 1,200 tons rode the waves of Indonesia's tsunami. It eventually plowed into the fishing village of Wani. Access to Wani has been difficult and aid has not reached them yet.
A look down the street that a ship came up. She surfed the tsunami, more than 1,200 tons riding the wave and ploughing into the fishing village of Wani. 13 crew were on board at the time, and one of them described how after feeling the ship shudder during the earthquake, they saw water retreat from the shoreline. Knowing that meant a tsunami, they ran to the bridge, the highest point on the ship. Then they could only look down in horror as villagers were swamped by the violent surge of water. They heard screams but were powerless to help. Since Friday, access to Wani has been difficult, so nothing in the way of aid has reached here yet, and people feel let down. Whatever help is at hand in the disaster zone, it always seems to be destined for somewhere else. Eventually that will change, and fishing villages like this will need a lot of assistance. After such a colossal assault by the sea, they will take a long time to right themselves. Of all the vessels washed ashore here, it is perhaps this small one that is the best indicator of the sheer power of the tsunami. You see, when disaster struck, this boat was lying on the seabed, where it sank 3 years ago. Quite something. John Irvine, ITV News, Wani, Indonesia.
And that's all the time we have for this week. On behalf of the entire Weekend Business Report team, I'm Keneal. See you next time.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Business Access TV was a proud sponsor of the Jamaica Observer Design Week 2018 presented by Cola. We covered a week filled with exciting and refreshing conversations in design for a Home Sweet Home special. Stay with us as we look back on the week that was.
Welcome everybody to Design Week, the Jamaica Observer, let's get that right, Design Week 2018. And thank you very much to Cola. It really meant a lot to get the call last year to say that they were interested. It really means a lot that you are here, and not just here, but you've flown to Jamaica so that we can, we've got bragging rights now that you actually came in and that you're here. So it's really lovely that we're here with individuals who are architects, interior decorators, people who just dabble in the industry, because at the end of the day, all are welcome. And of course, individuals who we can just call Friends of the Observer newspaper, who are always there for us. Design Week is presented by COLA, National Housing Trust, Tile City, National Commercial Bank, the Spanish Court Hotel, Caribbean Airlines, Business Access TV, and of course the Jamaica Observer newspaper. There's a lot happening. Our youngsters are there. Design Week is to engage, to have conversation, to find out what's happening, to find out what you could, how you can better improve your home, to give you information on fixer-uppers, and a lot.
It's an honor for me, as a COLER representative in the Caribbean, to be here tonight for the opening of Design Week Jamaica 2018. Together with our partner and friend Tile City, the Handal family, we've been able to achieve many of our objectives through the past years. And I can tell and be super proud that tonight we are accomplishing one of the most important objectives in 2018. Be part of Design Week Jamaica 2018, and not only this year, for the years to come. For those of you who are not very familiar with COLER, welcome to our showroom, welcome to Tile City, your home. We are a company that has been leading the sanitary ware industry for over 145 years. Founded in Wisconsin, and since the beginning, COLER has been leading and providing exceptional products to our customers. Nowadays, we are a big family. We are over 30,000 employees working in every single continent in the world, with many different factories worldwide and design centers. COLER has always been a pioneer in design and innovation, following market trends and adapting them into our products. In 1929, for example, COLER was featured at the Met Museum in New York, the Metropolitan Art Museum, with an exhibition showcasing the latest sanitary ware collections with innovative finishes other than white. That was a revolutionary move. Nobody within the industry were ever manufacturing any products in different colors than white. So now that we are surrounded by colors, that doesn't sound very exciting, but the truth is that we are setting trends within the industry for a very long time. So for us, it's part of who we are, to COLER, alongside with designers, architects, thinkers, professionals that are somehow able to shape the future of the different trends in the market and adapting those to our industry. This is why within COLER, the COLER portfolio, you will always find a huge selection of, as I said, designs, materials, finishes, colors, textures, because we count with a group of very talented people who is dedicated to study these trends, analyze them, and capture them into products. So currently, we have 6 different design centers in the world. From these 6 different design centers, we have an extended group of geniuses that are constantly putting their minds to work, creating real masterpieces. I'm actually very excited today because it's the first time that I count in Jamaica with one of these designers. So please help me introducing Erin Lilly, lead designer from our design center in COLER, Wisconsin.
So we start with cultural dynamics. We look at what's going on. What are people thinking about? What are they interested in? So bigger ideas. We're not just focused on the what, we're focused on the why and the how. We look at street art. We look at musicians. We look at what the youth is doing and how they're affecting it. We look at those big reasons of what causes people to do things, and we know with our younger generation, wanderlust is one of those. And they want to travel. And that means travel can compete with physical objects. So luxury now is beyond the good, it's about the experience. And we know that those experiences can be taken back into the house. So if you go to a wonderful resort, you experience a rainhead, you want to bring that back into your house. COLER Company is also a hospitality company. We live by the motto of gracious living. And with every product that we put in out there in the market, we want it to contribute to that gracious life. So clean in this respect means decluttering. Obviously, we have the world in our hand with our mobile phones. We want to turn our house into more of a sanctuary, to kind of get away from the noise, take a step back. And so clean is one of those bigger ideas of how do I streamline my life? How do I quiet it? How do I find the hygge? How do I find the mindfulness? And that can be within the sanctuary of your bathroom, your living room, or even while you're cooking. Modern momentum. Like I said before, people are more design savvy. Pinterest, Instagram, they know what they want. They want to create what they're seeing. They have a vision, and it's great. And I know for architects and designers, it can be a double-edged sword. It's awesome, and it's also frustrating. As you may know, Kohler is very diverse in its portfolio. We have a wide breadth. We do have a very healthy, traditional style. We are growing our modern line as well. You can see that with the Veil and the Numi. We are definitely bringing in some of those minimalist, classic pieces to work with. You see that with our faucetry of Avid, Composed. So when we talk about modernism, it's not that stark, sterile modernism of like 10, 15 years ago. It's got warmth. It's going beyond white and chrome. It's bringing in more natural materials, more texture. It's cleaner lines, but there's some humanization there. On top of that, people are playing with modern silhouettes, but then they're layering pattern, texture to more maximalism. So we focus on color, material, and finish. I work with the color, material, and finish group globally. Kohler, like Roberto said, was one of the first plumbing companies to introduce color. We encourage not only the end user, but the designers to go beyond white and chrome because we want to help you create the perfect space. And sometimes, yeah, white's going to work, chrome's going to work, but we're giving you those shades of white. We want to give you those shades of nickel and brass to really complete that look. We are launching 3 new cast iron colors. We previewed them at Salone, and we got global feedback, and we're coming out, and they're going to go on our iconic products. So cast iron baths, some apron front sinks, and our iron planes line. So we have some new shapes coming out there, like the trough. Really exemplifying cast iron and enamel, so that deep, glossy colors.
Any opportunity that we get to showcase businesses, we have a program called Home Sweet Home. We felt kind of in the wilderness promoting the construction sector and the whole innovation of construction by ourselves. So Design Week actually is almost like a marriage for us where Home Sweet Home is concerned. So we definitely come back on board this week again to take part.
So what I love about the Jamaican culture and how it integrates into design is the use of color. This, just driving through Kingston was just wonderful because I would see pinks and the backsplash of green and blues, and it was just stunning. And then, honestly, I was telling Victor that this is the best dressed crowd I've ever presented to. Like, I absolutely adore, like, the colorfulness, the attention to detail. You guys will appreciate our bold colors. We want the bold look of Kohler, and we want that with a little bit of flair and drama. So that's why we're looking to bring in some bold colors, those ombre finishes. We really want to see the personality come through. So we want to give you the right tools to create that very Jamaican-esque space.
Welcome back and welcome to a summary of living concepts by designers Angeli Martin Spencer, Tamara Harding, Dana Baugh, and David Myrie. Take a look.
A year ago, I was actually toying with the idea of starting a new chapter in my book of life, because if most of you know me, I do quite a few things. So I was considering this new chapter, and just as I was thinking about it, Natalie and Novia both posted this design week. So I immediately called them and I was like, what's this design week? And they told me the idea, and I was like, well, I'd like to be a part of it. And of course, being a part of the Observer family, because I contributed my DIY column for 6 whole years. I jumped on board, and if you know Novia well, you know she has this thing, well, Angeli, why don't you just do something? So I went and I got my logo made, and I got my profile picture taken, and the rest is history. I was introduced to my wonderful family at Ashley Furniture Home Store, where we had the official launch, and they trusted me without knowing me, and we've had a wonderful relationship for the past year, and I'm truly grateful for them and for you. We have lots of very talented decorators and designers in Jamaica, and I personally just wanted to actually be known for something, have a signature. And I have an affinity to walls. Like, I think that every space should have at least one feature wall. And with that in mind, I wanted it. I love wallpapers, and people think of wallpaper as these ugly peach and green florals of the 60s and 70s. So people want to run as far away from the word wallpaper as they can. But trust me, wallpapers are back in a huge way, and they have so many different styles and textures and quality, and it's just amazing. And it's incredible the way it transforms a room, because our lifestyle is more simple. We're going more with simplicity in design. Wallpaper has the ability to add just the right amount of drama that you want. So I took a leave of absence from my family for 2 weeks, and I went to the United Kingdom, the home of wallpaper, and got officially trained in wallpapering. So I found a short course that I could do, and I did that. And I figured since I was going all that way, I might as well learn something else. And so I did a course in upholstery, because the thought is we have to try to help people save wherever they can, because wherever you can save in the home when you're redecorating, it helps you to splurge in other ways. And the thought I had was to be able to renovate big ticket investment pieces like sofas and accent chairs and things that maybe hand down coming through the family. So the point was to repurpose what you already have that you may be attached to, and just bring new life to it. And so I am now hoping to be known to give all my clients a wash, as I affectionately like to call it, which is a wall by Ash. So that's another hashtag. We've created vignettes that you see draped here. And in each room, I have a feature wall and upholstered pieces by me. And what I love, I mean, for Jamaica to grow, we have to absolutely buy Jamaican and build Jamaica. So this collaboration, it grew. It never initially started out like that in my head, but it certainly has grown into something quite spectacular. So I certainly am very excited. We are very excited, and I thank you all very much for coming. And I'd like to now turn it over to my partner, Tamara Harding.
This is like an absolute honor to be here right now. Many don't know this, but Angeli was actually my very, very first client. She came to me when I was under tarpaulin, doing barely anything, and commissioned me to make some stuff for her house. And I was like, how is she even trusting me to do this? She doesn't know anything about me. And she did. And I mean, look at us now. We're here together. It blows my mind sometimes. And then with my good friend Dana, when I was trying to figure out my path in life, Dana was a big influence for me as a female entrepreneur who was also creative and doing exceptionally well. And I looked at her and I was like, you know, if Dana can do it, I can do it. And then I ventured into this wood business, and here I am now. It's been a funny balance for me, because I do still have people who would rather buy a table that's 10 times the cost of something local because they've bought it in foreign. And we're trying to change that trend with Angie doing this amazing work. Now you don't have to go away and buy these things. The quality of work here is impeccable and incredible. And so it's important that we really give our Jamaicans a chance, you know. And if you're thinking of going away and buying something, just check us first. See what we're doing first, and then we can bring in other things to complement what's made here.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate the support of family and friends who have been there throughout my journey. This year I decided to venture into more decorative pieces. It's a first for me. Most people who buy my stuff, they know that I do functional porcelain pieces. And so I wanted to explore something that was totally out of the box for me and something that was bigger than what I'm used to. So it was such a challenge doing these pieces. The collection is titled Papilio, after the Papilio homerus, which is the Jamaican giant swallowtail butterfly. It is currently endangered. I've actually invited the Jamaica Conservation and Development Trust. I thought about the idea of legacy and what we're leaving behind for the next generation, and I wanted to bring light to something that we were not speaking about or not doing enough. I thought all of that came together to bring forth the collection.
What I try to do is bring a modern element to wicker, because in Jamaica people kind of frown on wicker a bit. They think it's old-fashioned. So we try to just give modern takes on any type of furniture, but include wicker as an element in it. I think there are a lot of people who are getting educated to the fact that wicker, for one, doesn't just have to be patio furniture or outdoor furniture, that they can bring wicker indoors, and there's a lot of other ways to mix wicker with other more modern type of materials. So we've had good support so far.
Night number 2, Design Week Jamaica 2018. It's really, as you can see, it's what a difference a year makes.
I wanted to actually be able to create a feature wall in every space that I do. I think it is important just for interest, conversation, texture, just an added dimension, and I think wallpaper is the best way to accomplish that. I mean, gone are the days when you just painted the wall a different color. So as you can see from the vignettes here, the difference, imagine if they were painted a solid color. Next to purchasing a home, the next biggest investment, aside from the bathroom and the kitchen, is the large ticket pieces, like your sofa, like your bed. Things like that are large investment pieces in the home. So when people invest in a really good piece, it can last you for a long time. But the wear and tear, just regular wear and tear, especially if you have children, or a change in trend or a change in decor, you don't have to replace your whole piece just because you're changing the thing. I mean, the structure of the piece might still actually be quite strong and sound. The furniture pieces I did, or the chairs that I've done, are solid hardwood pieces. The pieces that you get that are imported are all pressed board. So if it rains or if the place gets wet, they wear. After a while, the chairs start to get wonky. And they look good for a time, but they're not very reliable and they don't last for very long. But the pieces that we make here are solid hardwood and they can last you for many, many years. That's the difference. And so you're going to, in fact, actually have to pay for that. You know what I mean? Also, we're not using slave labor. We're not taking advantage of people. This is people's livelihood, is what people do.
Design Week 2018, oh my God. I'm here for inspiration because we're working on a new concept store, the Courtney Washington concept store. So I came out hoping to be inspired, and I've already started collecting pieces. You saw me over there. Actually bought that mirror over there.
When we think about self-expression and how we tell the story about who we are, the first layer of self-expression is your outward, your body, your persona. And to invite someone into your home is inviting them into a very personal space. It's even more personal than wearing clothes, because you're now going into a more private side and peeling back the layers of who you are as a person. Now someone can see exactly who you are because of the things that you like and the things that bring you comfort and peace. and so enjoy. And so therefore the accessory that you choose should reflect who you are as a person and not someone else.
I think it's important for Design Week. You know, it's a good way to highlight the creative. As a creative myself, it's important that we showcase what Jamaica has to offer. I mean, it's a wealth of talent here, and to see what we can do with the raw materials found here locally. So again, big props. Great job.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I even did some damage. I bought something.
Every piece is one of a kind. It's from trees that are being cut, from construction, farming that I salvage and I use. So I'm breathing new life into trees that people would have enjoyed at some point, you know, on the highway or in their backyard. And now I can breathe new life into it. And I think because so much of me and my energy goes into a piece, that people really feel that. Like they feel happy when they get a piece from me. It really enhances their home, just I think because of the energy that goes into it, that amazing Jamaican energy.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. The Conversations in Design continued with a seminar with expert panelists who are eager to share the wealth of information they have in their respective fields within the real estate industry.
Design, creative industries are crucial to economic vibrancy, and something that we don't often realize or make the connection with, that we don't completely understand yet, but we understand the correlations. That where design thrives and flourishes, well-being also flourishes. The Caribbean Development Bank in 2017 started work on a creative and cultural industries fund that they intend to seed with $2.7 million to help spur the growth of indigenous creative and design industries. And we in Jamaica intend to make the most use of it. You don't normally associate the Ministry of Finance with Jimmy Choo kind of talk. Those days are done. Those days are over.
We have a mantra at the NHG that says we do not just build houses, we build communities. And so we ensure that our schemes come with green spaces, recreational areas, jogging trails, multi-purpose court, play areas for children, and of course, commercial complex, so you don't have to go too far to do the necessary shopping and to do some amount of enjoyment and have some recreational activity. And so what we try to do is match our housing solutions, match our housing mix to what our contributors need. And with contributors numbering about 470,000 between the ages of 18 and 65, that's a hard market to please. But as best as possible, we at the NHG, we're seeing how we can satisfy everyone. So for those who have land and you want to do your own construction, we have build on own land loans. For those who don't have land, but you want to come together with a group of friends and identify a piece of land and do your construction yourself, we have our cluster housing. But we have home improvement for those who are existing homeowners, and we have, I'll single out the disabilities grant, because that's a community that sometimes we ignore in our design. What the NHG does is that we give a grant that allows you to adjust your space, and a grant meaning it's free money, that you can adjust your space to meet your physical needs. Where financing is concerned, we have the lowest, I'm sorry, Miss NCB, but we have the lowest interest rates on the market, ranging from a low of 0 to 6% at the highest. We also offer 100% financing for our schemes. But we have a beautiful joint finance mortgage relationship with the NCB and other commercial institutions. So you get what the NHT allocates for you, and you go to NCB or any of those other institutions for the additional funds. And we wrap that all up in a conversation about my house, my home, my life.
I just wanted to relate a little how I saw the world of design. You know, a lot of people think of the construction industry, architects, designers, but to me, when you mention design, it embodies a whole lot more. We design our lives, our relationships, our country, our future. And when I thought about design in the Jamaican context, you know, you hear many people say that, well, may I try a thing? And I wish we could move from try a thing to design a thing, because design would mean there's probably going to be a lot more thought put in to what we do in every aspect of how we live our lives in Jamaica today.
What I wanted to do today was to just talk a little bit about buying a fixer-upper, because you don't necessarily always have to buy a brand new home. You can look at a fixer-upper that you can put your own spin on it, you know? So what are the things that you need to look for? In terms of going into the business of buying a fixer-upper, there's certain things that you must know. You must have an eye for the potential of the property. You must know the real estate market. You need to be one of these people that's constantly surfing the web. What's out there, what's new, what's coming out. You should have a working knowledge, some understanding of construction and the costs associated with doing certain things. You need to have a good design sense. As Chris said, you need to look at a lot of magazines. You need to be watching HGTV. You need to really have a passion and a desire to do this. You also must have the strength of cash. Not that you can't get a mortgage, but typically if you're going to be flipping, you're talking about you wanting to get in and be able to take advantage of opportunities when they come up. So you need that strength of cash, especially in today's market, which is very much a seller's market. So what you're finding is that there is more demand than there are properties on the market for sale. You need to know about the desirability of the area. Older neighborhoods are good areas to look at for fixer-uppers, older apartments, older developments. Some of the areas that you may want to consider, people are looking at like Hope Pastures. You need to look at what's happening in the surroundings. Look at all of the road construction that is taking place. You know, certain areas are going to open up. You look at any major city. Where's the most expensive real estate? In the heart of the city. So what you're seeing in New Kingston, you're seeing with the restoration of downtown Kingston, that's an area to look at opportunities. The building. So when you're looking at a fixer-upper, there's certain things that you have to look at. You need to look at the structural integrity of the building. You need to look at things like, you know, are there any cracks in the walls, in the floors? Does the land seem to be slipping? You need to look at things like, are there any encroachments or caveats, or check out the title. You need to look at the plumbing, the electrics, the roof, the flooring. These are things when you're doing a fixer-upper that we consider hidden costs. These are some things that can come out and turn around and bite you. You have a budget and all of a sudden. So you need to have that professional that's going to go in and make that assessment of your property. What do people look for in fixer-uppers? They look for lovely bathrooms. That's something that they want to do. Jamaicans love bathrooms. Every woman loves a kitchen. Whether you cook or not, you like a nice kitchen. The layout is important, and the landscaping of the property is also important. Chris talked about that wow factor. That's very important to have that factor. You need to consider the cost of purchase. Again, I spoke about cash. You can take advantage of these fixer-upper opportunities if you have the strength of cash. Ensure that the purchase price allows for refurbishing. So you really have to have a mathematical, you need to work the math. Okay, because at the end of the day, it can turn out to be not a flip, but a flop. Ensure that the purchase price allows for refurbishing and selling for a profit. So if you're flipping, you want to make a profit. If you are doing something because you want your dream home, then it needs to fall within your budget.
The perfect bathroom is the one that you've seen in a fancy hotel or in a spa that you want to go to. So what happens with us is that the client comes to us that they want a bathroom. They spend copious hours going through Pinterest, our dear friend Pinterest. Anyway, after they've collected all their hundreds of photographs, we then have to turn around and take those photographs and make them into their perfect bathroom. So you have to have an association with your client to make sure that they will, you can figure that out. The next biggest thing is budget, because everybody wants this great bathroom, but then how do the pennies add up? So once you've established that, that kind of tells us as a designer what exactly we will be able to do with the money that they've given us. So we start out with the first thing that we choose. I like to go after plumbing fixtures first. My recommendation is don't skimp on plumbing fixtures. Anything that has a brand name has it for a reason. So there's a whole array. Kohler has fabulous stuff from very reasonable right through to very high-end brands. So you can start with them, or there's cheaper still, there's Delta, there's lots of various brands out there. So don't skimp. You know, one of the things that people don't realize is that the plumbing has something called roughing, which are the pipes that go inside the wall. You buy cheap plumbing, and what happens is that roughing does not last. So what do? You have to take all that tile off the wall that you spent all this money on to now fix the roughing and buy other new stuff. So then we have the accessories, which a lot of times people forget. All of a sudden, you have to remember that you need toilet paper holders, you need soap holders as well. The next thing is the surfaces. So you need the designer to then match up what tile are we going to use on the wall, what tile are we using on the floor, and then what are we using on our countertops. The next thing is the cabinetry. Now, I personally like to use a shaker door and then use different profiles depending on how dressy I want it. But also with cabinetry, colors are a big thing now. But if you're doing it on your own, try and get as many samples as you can, see how those samples look together before you just jump on the side. Okay, I'm going with this style. People will just, run to Home Depot or something and grab whatever their hand touches. Don't do that. Spend a little time. If it's rub bronze is your look and you have rub bronze on your taps and your shower heads and all of that, then think about carrying the rub bronze through to your cabinetry, to your hardware as well.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Managing a community is essential to the value of that real estate. For most owners, the greatest investment they're ever going to have or make is in buying that one property. There are others that go on and go on and go on. So you can't afford for that investment to deteriorate. So the management structure is important. Now, there are some communities that are strataed. There are some communities that are not strataed. They're home associations. And there are some that smart developers have made them into limited liability companies. I have found that because the strata laws are now far more rigorous, you can use the strata to your advantage, the laws to your advantage, to make sure that persons do not fall behind, because you can always go to the commission, you can get certificate of sale to sell their unit and clear their debt. So I would say I've done it. I use it. In all my developments, I am very strict about how they are managed. It's important that any manager that you get, whether it is the homeowners coming together to manage the property, or you're going to hire a management company or a real estate company to manage, that they understand exactly what they're coming there to do. There are so many areas that are very important. One, the security of the complex is very important. Do you have porous boundaries? Are you going to hire a security guard company? And please hire a security guard company, not a one-man bandit. Because when you do that and things happen, there's no insurance to deal with injury or death or theft. The next thing is ground staff. Vet your ground staff, make sure they have no problems with the law, and also that they are polite and they are not going to be going around knocking on every door asking people for money. You have to make sure, if you're in a strata, for example, that you are having your AGMs, or if you're in a home association or a limited liability arrangement community, AGMs at least every 12 to 18 months. Make sure your committee meetings are being met and kept. If there are bylaws, especially with the Strata Commission and the Registrar Titles Act, whatever bylaws or laws they are, circulate them to all the owners. Make sure that all your residents are following the rules. And when there's a slight infraction, deal with it immediately, because the longer you leave it, it's the more difficult it's going to be. Also, if there is a situation that you're not in a strata and you're in a limited liability company community, you can use things like caveats. This is something I've done in the past. We caveat all titles to protect us that if in the future an owner becomes delinquent and we are in court suing and they're taking a while to settle and they choose to sell, them selling on does not prevent us from getting our money, because they have to come to us first in order to lift that caveat so our debt is cleared. Be very rigid on maintenance. Have some bylaws within your structure that speaks to how maintenance is paid, when are you delinquent, and how interest is charged. In all my communities, we charge interest once you've passed 30 days. In my communities, I hire auditors, I hire accountants, and they manage that money. And they also prepare budgets. They also prepare and advise me and the executive how to appropriate, or what sort of maintenance do we need to